We are still on the move. You shouldn't be surprised. Right here at the Voice of College Football, the transfer portal is humming, and we are trying to keep up, and you can keep up with us for the next half hour, 45 minutes. Leanne Herring right next to me, of course. Here we go, Leanne. We've got another batch of news today. How are you doing?
Doing good, doing good. We have it's Wednesday. I keep thinking it was Thursday. I think I'm a day ahead, trying to stay ahead of the game with all the news. Of course, we brought you some movers and shakers today. From yesterday, we have a few commitments, some few key guys off the board. We have some rumblings about one of the top wide receivers in the transfer portal who might be coming a late push of all people. Then we have a couple guys making visits. We have a pair of brothers, some blue chip brothers out of off out of USC who are looking to make a move and maybe test the water. So try to get a lot in. As always, make sure that you drop the comments. If there's kids that you're wanting to know more about, please leave that so that way for the next show, we can get ready for that. So let's get right to it.
Absolutely. So let's go with what we know, and that would be LSU wide receiver CJ Daniels, who started his career at Liberty, caught 42 balls last year, is headed to South Beach.
He is headed to South Beach. This is his third stop, so he has no. He's definitely experienced when it comes to being a transfer portal guy and how to maneuver it. There was a lot of schools, including Ole Miss, that were looking to add his talent to their receiving core, but it looks like Miami. Like I said, Miami was another team that I knew that was looking to overhaul its wideout room, and they have a lot of guys interested coming in their way. So I think this is a great get. Like you said, 42 catches. He had one season with the Bayou Bengals where he had 42 catches for 480 yards. And it was 11.4 per catch. So, like I said, this makes a third stop. Started out at Liberty, heading his way for 1 year with the Bayou Bengals, and it looks like now he's trying to bring a storm up in that red zone for the Canes.
Michigan has been boasting one of the better defensive fronts in the nation the last few years, and they are trying to keep up that pace with Mason Graham and others. Kenneth Grant moving on to the NFL, and Damon Payne is a former five-star at Bama who is going north.
Yep, he's going north, closer to home. I don't think this came as a big surprise when we knew he came out of the market. Of course, he was out of Belleville High School there in Michigan. So when we knew that he was kind of coming on the market, I think that it was only natural that Michigan, being the home state team, was going to try to get his services, trying to bring his talent. It was really very quiet recruitment, and it looks like like I said, it's a done deal. He was able to get closer to home. Big win for the Michigan up front. Like I said, really touted four-star recruit coming out of, Belleville High School during his recruiting cycle. So again, he's had some really productive times, really productive seasons out at Bama, and I look for him to continue this closer to home with Michigan.
All right, so moving down the list, Ole Miss has picked up Antonio Kite. What do we know about him?
I haven't like I said, he saw action in 8 games. He's in Auburn. He's formerly at Auburn. He saw action in 8 games over in the Plains, 6 tackles. He had one INT, and of course, one of his more notable plays this past season was a fumble recovery for a touchdown. And he makes the number 9 transfer commit over to Lane Kiffin. He's heading to Oxford. So again, another big win for the Rebels. I think we skipped over one. We can kind of go back a wide receiver, of course, that we talked about a lot on here coming out of Norman, Oklahoma. Boomer Sooner, highly coveted blue chip Nick Arnold is officially a Bayou Bengal. LSU has really been really been on the go the last couple days, really getting momentum, making the best out of this week in the portal. He also is going to have a nice cast of characters that Brian Kelly's really trying to build up with that overhaul of that wideout room. He's going to join out former Florida State wideout Destin Hill, and of course a name that we've talked a lot about, who was a very hot commodity once he hit the market, is former Kentucky Wildcat Barry and Brown. So definitely, he's going to join some top company down there. But yes, top receiver Nick Arnold is heading to the swamp, and he's going to be a Bayou Bengal.
We'll also mix in some of the latest coming down on the 247 sports feed, which right now includes Well, they just came up with something else since I checked about 30 seconds ago. So Arizona offensive lineman transfer Wendell Moe, who was an all-conference selection there with the Wildcats, has chosen Tennessee. That just comes down in the last hour. We got the guy that we talked specifically about, backup quarterback at Penn State, Bo Pribula, arrived in Missouri today. He's visiting Iowa, UCF, and Indiana as well. TJ Searcy visiting Auburn, and the Auburn Tigers continuing to make their moves as they have been all over the place. And they're looking at TJ Searcy right now. A few other things that you're looking at, Leanne, include Eric Singleton and what he might be planning to do. And that could involve Auburn as well.
Like I said, a lot of the big moves that are making behind the scenes happen in silence, and Hugh Freeze is no stranger to those silent kind of under the radar, letting everybody kind of, make their case. And then he comes in, and it looks like we're hearing, Mark, that top receiver wide Eric Singleton, we talked on and on and on about him, how many schools have, coveted his talent. When you look at his number, when you look at his film, I mean, it speaks for himself. He will definitely, wherever he heads, he will command high value, and rightfully so. He's going to be an instant impact player. He's already made some visits. Ole Miss has really been pushing for him, looking to expand their wideout room, definitely pushing the idea of not just the financial on Singleton's end, but also pushing the idea of development. We all know what Lane Kiffin and his offensive staff are able to do for some of the top wide receivers as far as development goes. But leave it to Auburn and Hugh Freeze to come in. We're hearing that there's a lot of rumblings in that Auburn is really, really, really in the market and really pushing for Singleton. And of course, we already know that Auburn and Hugh Freeze are putting itself in pretty strong shape to really build this wide receiver room. Another program that's really been overhauled and trying to improve. They found their guy as far as the transfer portal in Jackson Arnold, their QB. They're looking to get him some top wide receivers. Another couple names that we should be kind of watching out that could be help this trifecta and help make Eric Singleton, more enticed to go to Auburn, as he could possibly be joined to blue chip fellow wide receivers in Cam Coleman and Perry Thompson. Again, Ole Miss, Texas, and Miami are strong in the hunt, but it looks like Hugh Freeze is trying to freeze things up and trying to monopolize Singleton. And like I said, we're hearing that he's making a very, very strong case for Singleton's services. And like I said, he could be in pretty good company, because Cam Coleman and Perry Thompson are very strong with the Auburn Tigers as far as being priority. And we hear that they're coming very, very close to possibly make that a reality. So we'll definitely the Plains and Hugh Freeze will definitely be a team to watch over the next couple days into this transfer portal heading into the weekend.
And Leanne, right on cue. This goes right along with that possible pickup, as Eric Singleton still making his decision, but Hugh Freeze picks up a defensive lineman from Western Kentucky and Dallas Walker. That just came down here in the last 45 minutes, courtesy 247 Sports and CBS. Walker had 46 tackles last year. I know that we also wanted to hit on the brothers coming from USC when you talk about Zachariah Branch and Zion Branch and any possible leans there.
Well, these are going to be two of the guys that, like I said, we don't hear it as much as we do, but we talk about some of these guys, whether they're relatives or not. And in this case, in the Branches, highly taught it out of Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas when they were coming out of high school. Obviously, Zachariah is a true freshman, and then Zion is a redshirted freshman. He's a safety. And then, of course, Zachariah being a 5-star, his brother being a 4-star. So two key, but we're hearing that they will be a package deal. Now, in the case of Zion Branch, we noticed that as soon as he made his announcement, he did put a no contact tag. But we're hearing, again, that these guys are going to be a package deal. So Zachariah might be the one kind of, in the spotlight. But remember, these two are probably, wherever they're heading next, they're probably going to head continuing, that brother duo with their thing. We're hearing that some schools to look on early obviously would be Miami. Miami, I said, is coming really hot, trying to really build their receiving core, but also build on their other side of the ball. Michigan and Georgia are two names to keep up. Two dark horses that I really want to look at. Obviously, we know that Florida's definitely take a turnaround. Billy Napier staying intact. DJ Lagway, since he took the reins, we see what a turnaround the Florida Gators do. So Florida will be, I think, will be pushing for both these guys, especially trying to get definitely with Zachariah Branch, DJ Lagway, some strong targets, and also to continue to build that Florida defense. So look for Florida to make a late push. Now, one that I think we should also watch for, because again, I always say it's not just about the skill and talent these bring, but it's also about relationships. Louisville will be a dark horse in this one, and this is why, because remember, Louisville just signed Miller Moss, so that's their former quarterback there. They have a connection there. So don't be surprised if Louisville makes a run. And why Louisville, a place like Louisville, like I said, could make a good case for these. If these guys would go there, they would be the stars of the show. They definitely could be productive. We've seen what Louisville can do as far as development. They're building a lot of their talent on the young guys in their transfer portal. So there's a lot of room here for the Branch brothers to really find success. So don't be surprised if Louisville gets a visit here soon, or becomes priority because of that Miller Moss connection.
We should also note that there have been some major head coaching changes here just in the last couple of days. Dave Clawson, after 11 seasons, stepped down at Wake Forest, and Wake Forest has lost one of its best wide receivers, Horatio Fields. He's in the portal. We talked about that this week. And also now Washington State head coach Jake Dickert has taken the Wake Forest job. So Jake Dickert, a guy that we've had on here at the Voice of College Football a few times, has had some success at Washington State, went 8-4 this year, and he is going to the ACC and to Wake Forest. We've got the Buckeyes picking up an offensive lineman, a tackle from Minnesota, and Phillip Daniels. They would probably love for him to play this Saturday against Tennessee, but that's not going to happen, of course. But yeah, they could use some offensive line help in the playoffs. But for 2025, Phillip Daniels, the fourth-rated offensive tackle, according to 247 Sports, in the portal rankings, headed to Columbus to play for Ohio State. And I know also that it appears as though Jamal Johnson is one guy that's not taking off.
He is not. He hit the portal just a couple days ago. He's a guy, was at TCU. He's a kid that I've actually watched. Ole Miss was after him. I watched him out through high school and everything. Kind of came under the radar, but slowly came on the rise. One of the top defensive guys, coming out of Texas, TCU. But these are the stories. Sometimes it happens. Those are the few and far between these days. But it looks like Jamal Johnson's going to give it another go with the Horned Frogs, and he's going to stay put. Like I said, as soon as he hits the market, Ole Miss was talking. He was talking about a visit to Ole Miss. I mean, Texas was calling him. There was a lot of people on the horn for this kid, but TCU has been able to come to a negotiation with him, and it looks like Jamal Johnson's going to stay, at least for the time being, down in Fort Worth. So that's always an exciting news, when these teams can keep guys. That's one of the topics we talked about, and, how do you manage rosters? There's a lot of quality guys that you have on set, and how, when you're preparing postseason, bowl, whatever it may be, how do you navigate? Because you know that you need to build, and obviously you're not building with your high school guys because you've already set those in stone. You got another wave coming, of course, with the traditional signing day, but most of your bulk of your, bread here is going to come from your transfer portal. So it's going to be interesting to see how some of these bigger programs are going to help navigate. And like I said, with all the coaching changes, remember that allows players to be given an additional 30 days. So we might even see some, more movement here, as if we needed any more in the portal over the next coming days. I feel, once again, I think one of the commodities we'll see continue to rise is the offensive lineman, defensive lineman. I think this is one of the most underrepresented positions. We saw it all season. I always go back here. You can't do it unless you win the battle in the trenches. As much as they say defense wins championships, it does. And a lot of defenses got worn out this season trying to keep their teams afloat, especially here in the SEC. So that's kind of where things are going. we have some visits scheduled. We haven't got some confirmation on those. So when we get those confirmation on those, and I feel good about talking about, putting them out there, because we try to bring you the most up to date as far as sources and things like that. And it's just not trying to blow excitement of everybody's skirt, as they like to say. But like I said, we have a lot of exciting things coming up. There will be a break, like we said in the action, between December 23rd and 1st, as far as, there will be a dead period for coaches and everything. As far as contact, there still can be limited contact, but no in-person contact and visits and everything. But by no means will the news, slow down or anything. So that's kind of where we are for today, Mark. As far as on the move, I'm sure that there's more to go through. I don't know. There we go. We see that's Virginia quarterback right there, set to visit Ole Miss today, and we can talk more about that on the Ole Miss show when you tune in with Ruby I and Mark here later today.
Absolutely. I am especially interested in his decision because I like Anthony Calandria. I think that he's going to help somebody out there, and certainly his career would be in good hands, and his development at Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin. So yes, we can hit on that more today, just about an hour and 15 minutes from now, on the Ole Miss Live show. That's on the Ole Miss channel, of course. And we've dropped the link in the chat to make it easy on you to access that just one click away. Leanne, anything else we want to hit on today?
Not right now. It's a really short update. Like I said, it's kind of in the middle week. We have some rumblings. Like I said, Eric Singleton, Auburn making the push. I think we kind of covered it. Some guys staying put. Well, we might have some more commitments. Like I said, we'll focus more on some of the guys that have been visiting with the Rebels that we've gone to talk to, and also, who's ahead and all that kind of thing. Like I said, if you're Ole Miss fans, SEC fans, definitely tune into the show later on today with Mark, Ruby, and I. But I think on my end, unless you got anything else, Mark, coming up, I think we've hit all the major points, at least for today. We've covered at least what's happened. Like we said, it's ever changing, but we're here every day, Monday through Friday, to bring you all the latest. I will say, last night I got to watch, stream a little bit of high school football. Like I always say, it's gold ball season. Congratulations. What a tough match. Two really powerhouse teams in Langston Hughes and Milton. But again, congratulations to Coach Ben Reese, his coaching staff, and all those guys out of Milton, Georgia. They clinched their 5A state championship last night with a battle. They are number 2 nationally in the country, and 15-0 perfect season. And congratulations to them. That's the first time in program history that they've gone 15-0. So big congratulations to those. We look forward to seeing you guys and catching some of the prospects out in the spring. You've heard some of the guys that we've talked about that are still on the market. Go look at their tape last night. They both had heck of a ball game last night for coaches and out programs out there still looking for some 2025 dogs, as we like to say. But pretty much that's where I am today. We'll be heading out to Jerry World Friday and Saturday for gold ball season, wrap up 5A and 6A1 and 6A2 here in Texas. And we'll have some more news for some of the prospects to watch out. And then next stop after that, of course, Mark, will be the All-American circuit for the Navy All-American Bowl in San Antonio Combine coming up here soon.
And again, the concrete news from today, a lot of rumblings, but the concrete news: CJ Daniels, wide receiver from LSU to Miami. Of course, Nick Anderson going to LSU. Antonio Kite moving to Ole Miss. And then the 2 offensive tackles that we just caught here in the last few minutes, going from Minnesota to Ohio State, and Tennessee also picking up a top offensive tackle, an all Pac-12 performer, all Big 12 performer from Arizona. Then when we see Washington State linebacker, very productive player in Tariq Al-Uqda, who has just announced his entry into the transfer portal, 76 tackles for him last season. Ole Miss Live at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll see you in about 70 minutes, folks, over on the Ole Miss channel.